didn't see you there. It's Aston with MotoTune, a mobile repair service for Japanese motorcycles and scooters on Colorado's Front Range. Today we're doing something completely different. Today I'm going to pick up a Yamaha Zuma. It's an old two-stroke Yamaha Zuma. It's a Bugeye, so it's not the really desirable pre-bug bike. It would be cool if it was a pre-bug, but those are extremely rare here in Colorado. They pop up for sale every once in a while and people want top dollar for them. The thing about this scooter is the seller does not want top dollar. He wants to sell it very quickly. So if you want to sell something very quickly, you're not going to get top dollar. It's just the way supply and demand and markets work. So the market for scooters dictates that the scooter is worth a certain amount of money. I think it's worth about 500 bucks to resell in the spring or some warm day this February or March, maybe a little bit before spring. I think it'll go for closer to 1,000 bucks. So this video is going to be about the getting it ready to sell process. There's a whole process I go through. I'll replace the spark plug, I'll clean the air filter, I'll check the tires, I'll make sure it runs really good. I'll start it in all kinds of different temperatures and weather conditions, and then I will ride it in the snow, in the rain, in the freezing cold. I'll make sure it starts at 20 degrees. I'll figure out how it starts at 20 degrees. Then I'll make sure it starts at 40, 50, 60, 80 degrees, assuming we get an 80 degree day between now and when I sell it. But you can bet if it starts at 40 degrees, it'll probably start at 80 degrees. So anyway, as you can probably tell, I go through a lot before I sell one of these things. I add a lot of value back into it before I put it on the market. So without further ado, let's get to washing this scooter and checking it out. So yeah, this is just me. I'm unloading my van a tiny bit just to make some room to pull this scooter out. It's not going to take but a couple of seconds to get it out. I use one of these ATV ramps. They sell those in pairs. You can buy a set with your buddy and split the costs if you have motorcycles instead of ATVs. I don't own any ATVs, so I only need one ramp. You can see me fiddling with the tie-down straps up there on the front of the bike. Once they pop loose, I'll go ahead and wheel this thing out the back. So this is a scooter that I've worked on previously, and it ran pretty darn good. So we're going to try and start it. I think it's going to take a little bit more work to make it into a truly good scooter. So between now and the time that I make it into a truly good scooter, we're going to try to kickstart it. Turn the key, first kick, it fires up. So the work that I did previously was actually like pretty good. But when I took this thing for its first test ride, it decided to break down on me about 2 miles from home. It started leaking fuel everywhere. So you can see me taking the scooter apart. We're gonna have to take it all the way apart down to the carburetor to figure out why it's leaking fuel. It's probably just a float bowl gasket or a faulty fuel needle, something like that. Either way, I'm going to end up ordering a brand new carburetor for this bike. Not an OEM job, but an aftermarket $30 piece of junk carburetor. It should work just fine on the bike, and of course I'll test it a million times. So what does this bike have going for it? Well, as you can see, it's in very good condition. It has under 1,400 miles on it. I think it has 1,368 miles, something like that. And it's very clean. It still has its mirrors, it still has its blinkers. The seat is not ripped. The seat is in perfect condition. And it has that cool Leo Vinci pipe on it. So all of those things combined, we should be able to sell this scooter for 1,000 bucks, something like that, come springtime. It might even sell before springtime because we're getting some really warm weather during February this time of year. We don't usually get really warm weather this time of year, so this is somewhat unusual. I'm getting quite a few calls about fixing scooters and motorcycles, regardless of the fact that it's February, and it's probably going to get cold sometime soon again. But in the meantime, we're fixing scooters. The first step to working on one of these old Yamaha Zumas is to remove all of the bodywork off of the rear of the bike, and then you have to take the battery cover off. And once the battery cover's off, you can take that little front seat cover off that I just removed and set to the back of the bike. then you can hit 4 10mm screws, and once you hit those 4 10mm screws, they will come out, and then you will be able to take the seat off. Once the seat is off, then you have access to the carburetor. It takes 4 tools to get all of this bodywork off: a number 3 Phillips screwdriver, a number 2 Phillips screwdriver, a 10mm wrench if you want it to be a pain in the butt, or a 10mm socket with ratchet and a little extension on it. That'll help you get the seat off, and then you'll need an Allen key to get the rear rack off. I think it's a 5mm Allen key. So it's honestly, it's just 4 tools. You have no excuse for not having these 4 tools if you're working on bikes or working on anything really. I recommend using a 3/8 drive ratchet. Don't use the 1/2 inch that you would use on, say, the car in the background. Anyway, we are now at the carburetor. There you can see it's that shiny part. I just touched the fuel line, if you're wondering what that is. It's that thing with the coil around it, the coil spring. And there's a vacuum line attached to the carburetor. There's the choke lead, the little electrical plug for the choke, and then the throttle cables. Once you remove all of that, along with the airbox, I just popped the airbox off. There it goes. The carburetor will pretty much fall off in your hands. Once the airbox is off, I'm going to go after the throttle cables next. There are 2 tiny little, I think they're M4 screws holding the throttle cables on. Go ahead and remove those screws, and you'll be able to pop the throttle cable brackets from their little seat on the carburetor and remove the throttle cables all the way. Here they go. Next up are the fuel line and the vacuum line for the petcock. So here goes the vacuum line. I was able to do it without needle nose pliers. Here goes the fuel line. I was also able to do that without needle nose pliers. You might need pliers to remove these. Next up, you might have missed it, but I undid the choke, and now I'm going after the very last hose clamp mounted on the intake manifold. Once that's loosened up, the carburetor will pop free. Once you can hold the carburetor in your hands, it's time to take it apart. I start with the float bowl on these. You can see it's leaking gas everywhere as soon as I pop the screws free. And then I'm going to inspect the float bowl gasket closely. And it turns out the float bowl gasket really needs to be replaced on this. It has flattened out, and it's gotten to where it doesn't hold gas inside the carburetor anymore. So that would explain why the carburetor started leaking everywhere halfway through my test ride. Here you can see the float bowl gasket. It's flattened out, really needs to be replaced. We're just going to replace the entire carburetor.
1 week later.
So this is how the new carburetor arrived, single boxed in this box that's labeled OEM STD. We'll speculate on what STD stands for here, but I think they mean it to mean standard. OEM, standard, whatever. It's not even close to being OEM. So this is the float bowl on the quote-unquote new carburetor. We can see how much play or how much movement is in the float bowl, where we shut the flow fuel off and then we turn it back on. Fuel off, on, 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 off, on. You can see there's not a lot of movement there. This might actually work, believe it or not. We would have to actually install it and test it, but because it's so far removed from how the factory carburetor works, we're not even going to bother installing it. I'm just using the float bowl off of this carburetor, so I'm taking the float bowl off of the carburetor. We're just removing the float here in the video. But I'm just using this carburetor for parts, and I'm just showing you why we're not using this carburetor on the actual bike. So the float needle itself, this is supposed to be a plunger. It's supposed to move in and out, in and out. You can see there's no movement there. It has no plunging action whatsoever. So we're not actually going to use this carburetor assembly. We're just going to use parts off of this carburetor assembly to put together a working, non-leaking, actual OEM carburetor that came with this 2008 Yamaha Zuma from the factory. I still haven't decided if I'm going to use this new replica choke or if I'm going to keep the 18-year-old OEM choke attached to the OEM carburetor. Still haven't decided, but I'm going to show you how the choke comes off of the carburetor anyway. It's just one screw, and then you pop a little bracket loose, and then the choke comes loose. So this part moves in and out as the bike warms up. It actually moves in an outward direction or left from here. Forgive my dogs barking, for they are obnoxious. That's just how they are. I'll show them to you in a video one of these days. So this is how these carburetors actually come restricted from the factory. So the throttle doesn't actually open all the way up until you remove the screw right here, which is a little bit unusual because the item description for the eBay auction, not auction, but listing, actually listed this as a 100% de-restricted carburetor, which wasn't exactly true, but it's also listed as an OEM type carburetor, and we can tell by the way that the fuel needle moves up and down that it's not exactly OEM like. Even though I'm not using this carburetor, I'm going to still show you what the parts are. So I'm pointing at the main jet right there, and then this here is the pilot jet. So the pilot jet is what it runs off of while it's idling and while it's starting. The main jet is what it runs off of when you have the throttle open. So we're going to look at the fuel seat right here that the needle goes in. That's the main jet. Again, the pilot jet. Again, I'm pointing at them. Main jet, that's that shiny one in the middle, the big one. Then the pilot jet is the little skinny one next to it. We are not actually using this carburetor on the bike at all. We're just using parts off of it. I ended up using the float bowl with the new gasket on the old carburetor. And then I may or may not use the choke, but we're definitely not using this carburetor on the bike. The good news is the scooter runs great after putting the new carburetor back together and back on the bike. You can see me kick-starting it right there. It started up really easily. So we're just fitting the front part of the seat cover back onto the bike right now. It fits on with 2 screws. You can also leave these 2 screws out if you want to make your bike easier to take apart. That's up to you. Now I'm going to fit the right side back onto the bike. You're not going to be able to see me do that. I'm on the other side of the bike, but it looks just like this, only on the other side. Here I am fitting the left side fairing back onto the bike. They fit on primarily with 2 little silver screws that fit on with a number 3 Phillips screwdriver. That's what you'll need to get those fitted back on there. And then they also fit on the back using some little number 2 screws. So yeah, I'll slap the battery cover back on. The very last parts are the rear rack and then the little rear piece of plastic there. I'm going to go ahead and fit it back on right now. It fits around a little rubber grommet that fits around the seat and around the fuel tank. And then we'll go ahead and fit the rear rack on the bike, and then from here on out it's all pretty straightforward. But yeah, we're pretty much done from here on out. So yeah, bike runs really well. I'll have it up for sale here soon. I'll go ahead and fire it up again, let you see what that looks like. But yeah, fixing a old 2008 Yamaha Zuma. Super fun. Now that this little scoot is running good, we're going to go ahead and fire it up and then take it for a ride around the block here in a second or two. It runs really well. It starts good. Starts good down to about 40 degrees. If it's super cold, I can't recommend this scooter as like a commuter bike or anything like that. But as long as it's summertime, springtime, fall, this is a really good like 3-season scooter. It has the pipe on it. It starts easy, it warms up quickly, and it rides really nicely. So hopefully somebody wants it for about $1,000. That's what it's for sale. It's for sale out of Fountain, Colorado. Come and pick it up. $1,000. That's all I'm asking. Thanks so much for watching. You have a good one. Bye-bye.